plane stress problem. What are plane stress problem? Because they will occur when the body is thin and loads are all confined to the plane, the thin body plane, all loads are applied. Then the stress components, out of 6 stress components, this, if the perpendicular to the plane is z direction, then sigma z, tau zx and tau zy. That means all the stresses acting on z plane, they will become 0. These 3 components will become 0, and then your plane is in xy. Z is perpendicular to this, Z is upwards coming out. So, on this plane there is no load applied, there is nothing is applied, all the loads are applied only in xy. No, sorry, this is not possible. The way I have drawn is not possible. Why it is not possible? What is possible is moment. What kind of moment is possible? You can have a moment of this kind or this kind, anywhere. You understand? Moment of this kind means what? Twisting moment. This, because these moments will be created by a couple, that means 2 forces at a distant apart. A couple or moment is nothing but 2 equal and opposite forces at some distance. So, these forces are again, they are all acting in the same plane. Okay. So, such forces are permissible. In that case, if this is your point P, I mean be clear about it. Do not say that you do not know plane stress. Then if this is a point P and if I draw a small element, then this element, what is the state of stress acting on this element, and this is what we had done last time. So, this is the element, yes, the state of stress is defined only by these 4 components of stresses, only out of which only 3 are independent. Only 3 are independent. Why only 3 are independent? Because the shear stresses are complementary to each other. And then we said, okay, this is all right with reference to x, y. Let us at the same point, let us try to have an element which is not like this, but it is, I draw it an element around point P, not parallel to x and y axis, but they are parallel to x dash and y dash. Same point, I am constructed my rectangle like this. So, then how to find out these stresses? That means, now I will have to find out, by the way, what is the lecture number? 13? So, then इसको ले जाइए. I am finding that there is a lot of murmur going on my right, on my right, yes, this side, yeah. अरे यार कैसे हो गया, इसको ले जाइए, ये मेरा है. हाँ, पहला वाला तो ठीक था ना. हाँ, ठीक था. So, at the same point, now my element is like this, and this is very important to understand. And now my okay, and then we had done a okay, if you know this, if you know this, then let us cut this element like this, remove this part, top part you remove, and put the effect of the top part on the left one. So, the effect will be, call this as x dash direction. So, effect will be, there will be a normal stress here and there will be a shear stress. So, this is the element which is under state of equilibrium now. Point P is the same. We have cut it this element. Now, we are considering equilibrium of this cut element under the action of, on one edge you have this stress, on another edge you have this stress, and on the inclined edge you have these stresses. And last time we had, of course, on the inclined edge, for simplicity, although I have given it like this, because if it is maintained the same, you can also draw a line parallel to this, which will cut any edge that will be parallel to this, you will have the same. So, we have cut it for simplicity, so that we do not have this extra edge, otherwise there will be a problem in finding out cosine of angle, sine of angle. Okay. So, we have cut it in such a way that this is like this, but otherwise it is the same. And then we had found out that yes, we can do this, we can find out the value of sigma x dash in terms of where angle theta is this angle theta, the angle between x and x dash, this angle is theta between x and x dash is angle theta, or between the vertical and the inclined cut plane is angle theta. Then it is like this, no, sigma not x square, sigma x plus sigma y plus this we had derived last time. So, we were here, we got the relationship between the normal stress acting on an inclined plane whose value is sigma x dash in terms of the original stresses which are acting in x and y direction. Now, we can write down everything in terms of two angles. So, cosine 2 cosine theta equal to 1 minus 2 cos square theta. So, it will be 1 plus cos 2 theta. This is cos 2 theta here, not square, it is cos 2 theta plus sigma y equal, what will be this? 1 minus that is I am making mistake, and plus tau x y, or we get sigma x plus sigma y by 2 in two angle, you know. So, we have got this sigma x dash is equal to this summation of three terms, sigma x plus sigma y by 2, sum of the two normal stresses divided by 2 plus difference between the normal stresses divided by 2 into cos 2 theta into shear stress into sin 2 theta. And if you do the same thing by, because let us finish that also. If you do the same thing, this is 13.4. That means sum all the forces in y dash direction. This is your element, this is your element. So, let us sum all forces in this direction. So, I can get this value in terms of these four quantities or three quantities, because this is equal to this. So, these three quantities. So, you can get, I am not going to derive it, you can get that one will be equal to shear stresses tau x dash y dash equal to minus into sin 2 theta plus tau x y. So, these are two very important relationships. So, you know now at any inclined plane, yes, what will be the, and since you know this, you can also find out on y dash plane by putting theta equal to theta plus 90. Put theta equal to theta plus 90, then you will get x dash will become y dash and tau x y will become shear stress. Okay. So, you can also find out. So, put by putting it theta equal to theta plus 90, pi by 2, you will get sigma y dash. So, what will be the values? Because sigma x dash is this. This is sigma x dash. So, what will be y dash? First part will is invariant. So, it is sigma x plus sigma y by 2. If you put here 90 theta equal to, so it will be pi plus 2 theta, pi plus 2 theta in the which quadrant? So, this angle is in this quadrant, and now you are coming to in this coordinate. So, here all A, C, T, here tangent positive means sine will be negative, cosine will also be negative, is it not? Do you know this formula acts? At least I have learnt like this. 4 quadrant. Here all signs are positive. Here only cosine ACT, only tangent, and here only sine ACTS acts. So minus. So that one will become here. So what will it will become? What will be become? Y dash will become, yes please, this will become minus, because this will become, cosine will remain cosine, because pi plus 2 theta, pi plus 2 theta or 180 plus 2 theta will become, cosine will remain cosine, but then it, a minus sign will come, and sine also will become negative. Sine ACT, yes, sine also is negative. So it will be, y dash will be minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 into cos 2 theta minus tau xy into sin 2 theta. Well, so this is transformed into, at the same point P, I have taken my angles like this. So this one is sigma x dash, of course there will also be this, otherwise it will not remain in equilibrium. So here also, but we have drawn only on the positive plane. We have shown only on the positive plane. Okay, so you have got all the formula. What about this? Is it okay? Shear stress, there is no problem. You can also put again here theta equal to theta plus 90, and otherwise you know that at in shear stresses are always complementary to each other. So if you have found out this, on a right angle it must have the same value, and direction must be such that it is compatible. So if this is x dash y dash, so this is, it has to be like this. So this value must be equal to this, and we have already just now found out what is the value of x dash y dash. But what is just try to, there are certain geometrical relations, I mean sorry, analytical relations that we will try to see now. Try to just add sigma x dash plus sigma y dash. Please just add up these two quantities. What is sigma x dash? Sigma x dash is sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 into cos 2 theta plus tau xy sin 2 theta plus what is y? Y dash. Y dash is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2. I think only there is a sign change, sigma x minus sigma y by 2 minus tau x y. So, these are the, so you find here that this term and this term gets cancelled, again this and this gets cancelled. So, you are getting so this is very important. Now, for any theta this is true. For any theta, sum of the two normal stresses which are acting on two perpendicular planes will always be same, sum of. So, we say this is the law of invariance, this is the law of invariance, sum of normal stresses acting on two perpendicular planes at a point, because what we are doing is only at a point, this is important, at the same point, at the point will always be so you please take any orientation, any theta, and this will always, so this is called law of invariance. In fact, this is called first law of invariance, first law of invariance of stresses, that this is sum of the stresses, normal stresses will always be same. So, x dash, so that means sigma x plus sigma y equal to sigma x dash plus sigma y dash. Let us say we take another coordinate system at the same point, x double dash and y dash, theta y change it to theta dash. Okay. So, I get here, I will get here sigma x double dash plus sigma y double dash, etc., will always be a constant. Sum of normal stresses. This is a very good law. It is simple also to remember and understand. By the way, 2D, this plane stress, state of plane stress that we are discussing, is it in how many dimensions? I mean, this we are doing a body is defined by any point P, coordinate will be defined by x and y coordinate. So, it is a two dimensional. So, we call it in simple, we call it two dimensional, 2D. 2D means we write it like this, 2D capital, two dimensional. 2D state of stress. So, plane stress, and I gave you one example, where does this occur? See, all these vertical walls, they are under self weight, yes. In fact, beams, in this room they are not visible, but do you know what are beams? What is difference between beams and slabs? No. How many of you know beams? Civil engineering department, classroom, have you seen any beam? On the roof, on the roof between the two supporting column, the member that must be projecting out, down, that is the beam that carries the most of the load that is coming on the floor. The floor is called slab on which you are sitting, SLAB, slab. From slab the loads go on to the beam, and from beam they go to the vertical column, and from column they go to the foundation, and then finally to the soil. Okay. So, it is like this, this is how the loads are transferred. So, beam, what kind of loads? See, beam has got a very, if you see the width of the beam is not much. Width of the beam will be something like maybe a foot or 6 inches, depth will be a meter or little less than meter or 2 feet, 2/3 of a meter, and then length. Length is quite large. So, one dimension is very large, width is very small, depth also is small, no doubt, but still what we see, all the loads that act on the beam, they will all be lying in the plane of the vertical, because from the slab they will go to the beam. So, if you see the load transfer, because that is a very important civil engineering structure and you should know. See, beam is like this. In between is there is a lot of space between two beams you have, and then this is the floor. So, this is the cross section that I have drawn. So, this is the depth, total, this is B, now from here, because you are sitting here, you transmit some load from the slab. So, they ultimately go to the beam over here. They will finally go to the beam. From here, because this will span between this. So, all these loads that are in between the two beams will go, half of that will go to this beam and remaining half will go here. Similarly, it will come from the other side also, but what I am saying, it is like this. So, load, and this beam is supported between the columns. There are two main columns, on the each end. What is the width of your room in which you sit, your classroom? Any idea? Some dimension. As a civil engineer, you should have some idea about what is the dimension. What is the room size? Classroom size? 30 feet. It is about 10 meters, little less than 10 meters. Okay, the width is 10 meters, and the beams are spaced. Beams are spaced, and so are the columns are spaced every 10 feet there. If you go and see in your classroom, center to center of a column is 10 feet. Now, in those days they had this feet, and nowadays we work in terms of meters. So, maybe we will be now making a beam of not 30 feet, but I will say 10 meters. I will have the width of the room as 10 meters, not 9 point something, it looks very awkward. But then in those days people used to work with feet, inches, and so on and so forth. So that was the size. So, this is depth. So, here if you see the beam, so beam is supported, this beam, I am drawing the elevation of the beam. You are seeing it from the So, this beam and width is there, width of the beam will be there, width is B. Now, once you are seeing from the elevation, then width you cannot see. Okay, this is the cross section. So, but what is most important here is all these loads, this intensity here is uniformly, it goes like this in the beam. So, that means every slice of the beam, if I divide this into number of smaller slices, will behave in the same manner, and I will take one slice of the beam. Okay, I will take only one slice of the beam, and I will say it is subjected to this load. So, load is all acting from the here. This is the load on the beam which are coming from the slab. So, here this beam, if you consider this in xy plane, z is perpendicular to this, that means z is this. If z is perpendicular to this, then at any point here the state of stress is this. Plane stress. So, beam is another example of plane state. It is in state of plane, because all these stresses sigma z, Americans call it sigma z, tau zx, tau zy, there is no load in this direction. So, therefore, these stresses are 0. So, you are left only with this, and so the beam is in plane stress. So, beam is in plane stress, wall is in plane stress. There are many thin sheets, thin bodies which are subjected to this kind of stress in real life, and therefore, this analysis is important. Okay. Now, what happens? There is another two-dimensional type of problem, and that you should be familiar with. How many of you have seen dams? Dam, water dam, which retains water on one side. What is the purpose of retaining water? To create height, and then with that height means energy, you can use that hydraulic energy head to produce electricity, to run the turbine. So, the water height is used to convert into electricity, that is used. So, you have water jets which will be coming with force, and they will run the turbine at the bottom, and that is how your. So, you have dams that are there, and if you see the cross section of the dams are very long structures, because they have to cover the entire width of the river or something, where it is flowing between the two ridges, between the two hillocks, water is flowing. Now, you want to block it. So, what you will do? You will construct a wall, a thick wall. Now, every cross section of the dam, every cross section I am saying, cross section is, I will tell you what is the cross section like. How many pages? 4, 5, 3. So, the cross section of the dam is something like this. Normally you have some portion on top on which you can walk, or you can go with your vehicle. Then there will be a vertical, then it will be on one side, it will be like this. On the other side also normally there is some slope, but not as much as this, and then it is grouted. So, this is grouted or fixed to the ground. Of course, you have, so you have water depth up to here. This is water level on one side. And from here you have through which you carry water, and here will be your on the downstream side you will have your turbines that will be used to turn this. And of course, otherwise the river was there and see the level of water was, but because you have blocked it, so water, one side water is this much, on the other side water may be only up to here, sorry, it will be here, it is very low. Now, this cross section is fixed between, if you see the length, length is a long one, dam length. It is fixed between two rock, hills on the sides. So, that means this cannot move in this direction. There is no movement in this and this direction. It is fixed here. Here it is very, very strong rock mass. Here also there is a, hill. So, this length which will be perpendicular to this. So, let us take that the coordinates are z is perpendicular to this. So, this is x, this is y, and z is perpendicular to the this, or z is this. So, this one is z direction. Longitudinal direction is z direction. Cross sectional directions are x and y. Cross section lies in x and y, and z is perpendicular. So, longitudinal direction, the road on which you will be going from one side of the river to another side will be in z direction over the dam. Now, this dam is constrained between two hills. So, it cannot move in z direction. Since it cannot move in z direction, what will be 0? Epsilon in that direction. Epsilon z, normal epsilon z is 0. There is no change in length. You take any 2 points in z direction, there won't be any relative motion. Relative moment, they will be same all the time. What else? Now, z direction is this pen, and x and y are in the plane of the paper. Now, you tell me at any instant of time what will happen to this angle between x, z and y and z. Before this, you can also say what is happening to this plane that I have drawn. Will this plane remain a plane, or it will just take a concave shape or convex shape? Originally, when they were, let us say there was no water here, then everything there was no stress, and therefore this was plane. After loads are applied, will it become like this? It is not possible because of symmetry, because this load is same along the complete z. So, same load is acting at any cross section z. So, that means each cross section is being acted upon by more or less the same kind of load. Therefore, their behavior must be same. So, if one goes like this, the next one also must go like this, and then there is no symmetry. It is not possible, and for symmetry requires that it must remain a plane. So, neither it can be concave nor convex. So, neither it can go in or go out, or bulge out. So, therefore, it must remain a plane. So, plane sections remain a plane. That means this z plane is a plane, always plane under all conditions of load. So, if z is a plane, then this angle and this angle will always remain 90 degree. X z and y z will always remain 90 degree. So, if I take one element here and one take here in x z plane and y z plane, there is no change in right angle, therefore, there is no shear restraint. So, change gamma x z and gamma y z are 0. So, this is also a two dimensional state of stress. 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you agree this is a plane state of stress? I mean, sorry, this is also a two dimensional state of stress. Why? Because what you are now left with, the state of strain out of 6 components, you are left only with, sorry, not stress, but epsilon x, epsilon y and gamma xy. Just like stresses, you also had, I think I had also told you corresponding, that corresponding strain in 3 dimension will be epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z, and the 3 strains will be change in right angle between x z, y z and z x will be denoted by the gammas. Gammas are shear strains. Shear strains are caused by what? Shear stresses. Shear stresses, but then these are 0, then you are left only with this. And if you are left only with this, that means state of strain is two dimensional. State of strain can be defined only in terms of x y, it is in the plane. Is it clear? So, here we are emphasizing strain. I did not during the discussion of this problem of dam use the word stress. I have always been saying strain. While in the case of plane stress problem, in the case of other one beam or a wall problem, I always started with, let us assume a thin member, thin body, and then the loads are applied in the plane. Here also loads are applied in this plane, on one, no doubt, but the same load is there across the entire length. Length is very, very large, okay, and plus it cannot move like this, no. So, epsilon z is 0, then this angle and this angle and this angle, they will always be at right angle at all time. So, therefore, there is no shear restraint. So, this is not there. So, you are left only with 3 shear, I mean 2 normal strains and 1 shear strain, and they will be only in x y. So, I can define it only in terms of x y. So, here in the case of see, you have done uniaxial load. Now, let us do multi-axial load. This I had asked you to study on your own. So, uniaxial is, if I have a body like this, and I am not happy with your submission, I went through that. and everybody has done just a job, you wanted to just think, your heart and your effort is not, you have just tried because it was a submission. So, somehow let us submit something, write some 2-3 pages and put it, and then anyway, see, you should study and then try to put it properly, and then only you will learn. So, this is the body. Let us say that first you have a only sigma x applied to this. If sigma x is applied, what will be the strain produced? I think this I must have done, but still I will do it. What is the strain produced in x direction? Is it okay? Positive strain. What about negative strain in y direction and negative strain in z direction? Yes, if you extend in one direction, there will be shortening in other and shortening in the third dimension also. So, that will be how much? Anybody quickly? This I had asked you to study. That is, I had told you learn about Young's modulus, I mean experiment and associated law. So, this now this is positive, because in this direction, in x direction there is positive, but then this positive strain will produce a negative strain in y direction. How much will be that? That will be nu times sigma x by E. Yes, and there must be a negative sign. Similarly, what will be this? This will be again nu times sigma x by E with a nu times this. So, if you have a single stress, uniaxial stress acting in x direction, then the strains in the 3 directions are this: a positive strain in x direction, negative strain in y direction whose value is this, negative strain in z direction which value is this. And what about the shear strains? Gamma xy, gamma xz and gamma yz. What are these? Shear strain is change in the right angle. Shear strain, that is, this is, if these are the 2 right angle direction and your element is rectangular in the beginning, is defined like this: when the loads are applied, your element changes its shape. So, the angle changes. So, change in right angle is the measure of shear strain, gamma. So, gamma is defined like this: original element is like this. I am drawing only in one plane, because in 3 dimensions it will become very difficult. So, if you have applied shear stress on this element like this, so what will happen? This will change its so it will become like this after loads are applied, and this angle will be called, if this is x direction and this is y direction, then this angle change in the xy angle, 90-degree change in, will be called gamma xy. So, gamma xy is change in the right angle, not this angle, not the included angle. So, 90 minus, if this angle is alpha, so 90 minus alpha is called gamma xy. That means, it will be this. This is also changing from this one, it has gone from vertical, it has gone. So, what is the change in 90 degree? This plus this, and that plus this is 90 degrees minus alpha. Alpha is the included, where xy is positive. So, this is a positive shear strain gamma xy. So, here because of this stress, what happens to your element? Element still remains, all the angles are remaining still 90 degree. It will get elongated in x direction, shortening in y, shortening in z, but all 90 degrees are maintained. Therefore, the shear strains are all zeros. Now, please apply. I will complete this only. I will leave, then only I will leave you. So, because I am already behind schedule, I am very slow in my delivery. So, and plus we started quite late. Okay, now superpose on this. This stress sigma x is already there. You please apply also sigma y. What will happen? Sigma y will elongate the element in y direction. There will be some some extension in y direction, but then there will be shortening in x and z direction. So, there will be positive strain here, sigma y by E. We are doing it for isotropic material, this one, and we have drawn our element at a point P. Around P we have drawn a small parallelepiped. So, this one will be, and then then there will be a negative strain here, and that will be given by sigma y by E, and here also nu times sigma y by E. See, this you do not have to remember. If you are attentive and listening to me carefully, then the logic will one by one. First, I have applied only on the cube sigma x. On a 3-dimensional element, I have applied only sigma x. Only one stress is applied, one component is applied. It will elongate here, reduce here, reduce here. Clear? No shear strain because angle is still maintained, 90 degree is maintained. So, no shear strain, only normal strains. Okay. Next one, I am applying sigma y. Sigma y. Now, sigma y if you are applying, then there will be positive here, negative here, negative here. Clear? Same value, nu times sigma y. Do not bring in now sigma x is already there. It has done its job. We do not have to touch it. Now, you have applied sigma y. So, sigma y, because of sigma y there will be negative strain here, negative strain here. Again your element will remain, all the angles will be maintained at 90 degree. So, no change in here, no shear strains. And do this, repeat this for the third. Now, let us apply sigma z, so that all the three stresses are normal stresses are applied to the element. So, this will give you a positive strain sigma z by E, negative here sigma z by E, and negative here nu times sigma z by E. And again your element has become, volume has changed, but all the right angles are maintained at right angle. No change in shape, only volume has changed. So, here again all the shear strains. So, what is important in this? If your material is isotropic, isotropic means it behaves similarly in all the direction at point P. Any point P it behaves in, there is no directional property, in all direction its behavior is same. If it is isotropic, then this is the strain stress law, if you apply sigma x, sigma y, but this is not all. So, a normal stress produces only normal strains, it does not produce any shear shear strain. A normal stress component of stress produces normal strains, not the corresponding strain, but other strains also, other normal strains, okay, but no shear strain. Now, let us take in the 3 planes, you apply, because these things are all related. So, I have my plane x y. First, I take x y plane and I apply to the element, that means to the same 3. In fact, I should draw, no, let me try to draw x y means what it means to the 3 dimensional. What is the shear stress x y? This is x y z. Where is x y, please? Where is x y? Positive x is this direction. This is okay. So, where is x y? X y is like this. On this plane x y, shear strain x y. Y is this, so on this plane shear stress y x is like this. On the back plane minus x plane is this plane, you know, the rear side. Rear side, this is your x y, negative, sorry, yes x y, negative y direction, and then in y is this direction. So, negative x direction should be like this. So, this is the tau x y, tau y x, tau x y, tau y x. You have any doubt? So, let us say I cut my element, I cut it by a plane, horizontal plane. So, horizontal plane will look like this, but then how it is x y, where is x and where is, yes, okay, x is here. Z is perpendicular. Z is perpendicular x y. So, can I say this is my x y, this is y x, this is x y, this is it the same? If you take it horizontal, you know, I have cut a, does it look like this? X y, x direction, of course, you have to rotate this, you know, you have to orient x here and y here, make it horizontal, make it in the horizontal plane, then it will look like exactly this. Okay, so, this x y, because of this, the element will become like this. And this angle over here, if this angle is alpha, so 90 minus alpha is gamma x y, that is how we define it, 90 minus alpha, change in the right angle x y. So, it has produced, there is a shear strain, but what is happening to other? Has it changed any other angle except? Yes, I think this face still remains 90. See, what is distorted is only what you are seeing from the top. If you see from the top, it will look something like this, but then this face will remain 90 and this face will remain 90. Is it clear? So, what is most important is that this shear stress is not producing this, producing only the corresponding shear strain and not shear strains. So, this shear stress, that means gamma x y has produced only tau x y by g. It has not produced gamma x z and gamma y z. This is 0 and this is 0. Similarly, when you apply in the same manner shear stress in x z plane, so it will be tau x z by g, 0 here, 0 here, and when you apply tau y z, sorry, yes, tau y z, so it will be this divided by g, this is 0 here and 0 here. Because Hooke's law, stress divided by Young's modulus or shear modulus is your strain. Stress divided by the modulus of elasticity. Now, in this case it will be shear modulus, because it is applied in order to deform the shape. So, shear modulus, and so this is the definition of shear strains, three shear strains, and the shear strains, these shear stresses when you are applying, what is important, it is not producing any other normal strains. They produce only the corresponding. So, here I will like to put it, when you apply tau x y, it produces 0 normal strain. Similarly, when you apply the tau x z, again it produces normal strains are 0, and when you apply the last one y z, this produces 0 here. So, what I have done in this exercise, I have applied the 6 stresses one by one. First, I applied the normal stresses, 3 normal stresses, one by one. I found it that it produces only normal strains, and I got the formula like this. On the basis of physics, you do not have to remember this, you should understand this. Yes, this is how, if I apply a stress divided by modulus of velocity will give you the strain, but this is in that direction positive, but in other direction there will be negative. And then you come here, I had already told you that this produces 0. So, these 3 I have already given, and now these 3 when you apply, so this is how, so this is general constitutive relation between stress and strain at any point. Just a minute. Let me, because why did I start or why did I use this? Because I found that there is a need for this knowledge at the stage when I was discussing plane strain. So, plane strain, when I told you plane strain, epsilon z is 0, gamma x z is 0, gamma y z is 0, 3 strains are 0. Now, from this formula here, just now which we have derived, we have got that epsilon z is equal to minus nu sigma x by E minus nu sigma y by E plus sigma z by E. This is only due to mechanical load, and therefore, when you have a case of plane strain, this is 0. So, I am setting that equal to 0. When you set that equal to 0, so we get here E gets cancelled. So, you get here sigma z will be equal to nu times sigma x plus sigma y. What is the meaning of this? Sigma z is equal to, that means in the case of plane strain in the dam which we were, what is z direction? Perpendicular to this cross section. Strain is 0, epsilon z is 0, there is no normal strain because it cannot move, and two particles will remain at the same point because of the fixity at the two ends. It is completely fixed. But then because you have fixed it, it will produce some stress, just like thermal stress. Thermal stress, how it gets produced? If you fix the body, a rod between two supports and change the temperature. So, what will happen? Strain is 0, but then there is a stress is produced. So, here also we got it just now from this. So, I wanted to explain this, that in the case of plane strain, which is also a two dimensional state of strain, we can call it also two dimensional state of stress also, because this can anyway be found out. Sigma z is dependent on x and y. So, what is needed is only x and y, z is always dependent. So, it is not independent. So, this is also a plane two dimensional state of stress or strain. So, plane strain problem, 2D plane, PLANE, not PLAIN. Okay, so, it is a plane, two dimensional plane strain or stress problem. So, we have done just now an analysis for plane stress, that sigma x dash plus sigma y dash is equal to sigma x plus sigma y and so on and so forth, invariant. So, the same law will hold good also here, because this is also, in the plane you have only sigma x and sigma y. Sigma z can always be found out. So, it is not independent quantity. So, all the analysis that we have done for plane stress problem can also be applied for plane strain problem. This is what I want to convey. Okay, we will continue. Thank you.